All right, Shalom. This is Brother Mayim coming at you from GMS Tampa Bay. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakodash. Double honors to the elders, apostles of Great Millstone, and much blessing and salutations to the Akim around the four corners of the earth who are diligently pushing out His truth and sincerity. All right, and also Shalom to the Akwathium, the sisters who are learning in quietness and meekness. So I just wanted to do a quick video. I was just watching this the latest post by Apostle Tahar earlier this morning or earlier today. I don't know exactly when he posted it up, but nonetheless, well, since I'm already here, let me see when he posted it up. So about 10 hours ago, it's entitled Microchipping in the UK, Brexit, and the EU. And as I was watching this video, I actually got pulled up on my phone, but I was watching it here at the house. I pulled it up on my phone, and I was going through these comments and seeing what people were saying. And I came around this jackass right here, Gary Seabrook. And I'm not gonna read all this bullshit, man, because this dude is just he really just pissed me off in the spirit, I had my spirit turned up. But I'm just going to read a couple things from here, and then we're going to get a couple precepts, nothing too crazy. Man, here it is. The apostles talking about microchipping in the UK, Brexit, and the EU. Basically, the apostle could have just, entitled it various topics for you simpletons, but nonetheless, those were the topics that he went into. But here it is. You got a scoffer, Gary Seabrook, if that's even this dude's name. But guarantee you, as you read this comment, you can tell that 100% this is an Edomite. Whether he looked like a nigga or not, this is an Edomite, man. It say this. I'm gonna read what he said. He says, if the word microchipping appears in the Old or New Testament, and man, I'm not even gonna comment on that. But let me just keep on. It says, at any point, I will personally fry and eat my own bullocks, and this guy will. All right, this non-believer here, this person who believes that he wants to call the Old or New Testament, he wants to call it what he just called it there. I don't even want to repeat it, but man, it says, he continues to say, if it does not, and let's face it, it doesn't, does it? That's how you know right there that that's an Edomite, man. That's like, matter of fact, let me pull up that precept. How does it go? This is a lock, yeah. I'm just typing in keywords here. Actually, I think I know where it's at. Yep, Psalms 14. It says this is Psalms chapter 14. It says, the fool hath said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. Oops, lucky. Let's go back to this comment. He said, and I'm back here at the first paragraph of this story they wrote. It says, if it does not, and let's face it, it doesn't, does it? Then what you and your preternatural or preternatural bing bong buddies are indulging here is fairy dust logic. It's hard to understand why the alleged all-powerful, and it's lucky for If I offend you in the way that I'm reading this, it's just I'm a little animated in the way that I'm reading this. I'm trying to put it in perspective of how this person was typing this as he spoke it, just to give you a little bit of a clearer image. Because this is, honestly, I'm going to say this. When I read certain comments or I read scriptures, anything that I read, I've always had it and that's always been something in my spirit that I'll read it or I'll say it in the way that I think it was presented. That's just something that I've always done personally, even when I was in the world. I'll read something, and I've noticed this in my daughter as well. I'll read something, and as I'm reading, I'm noticing that I'm trying to recreate what occurred of what I'm reading. So Salaki, if you feel offended, like if I'm going in on this or something, so to speak. All right. So this is the second paragraph. It says, it's hard to understand why the alleged all-powerful Care Bear in the air doesn't approach his publisher. And you see, man, you can really stop right there. But I'm going to just keep reading because I really want to turn the spirit up on you brothers, man. I want to turn the spirit up on you brothers and realize that these Edomites, the so-called white man does not give a damn about you, man. He does not believe in the Most High. He does not care about what you do out on the highways and byways. All he wants to do is just stop what you're doing. He doesn't care about what you're talking about. He just wants to stop what you're doing because it's going to contrary to what he wants to go. That's the only reason why this devil wants to stop what's happening, man. And I'm talking about these low-level demons. I ain't talking about the elites because the elites, they know about the Bible. They know the scriptures to be true. They're trying to go against it. They're trying to upset prophecy. So they set their lower-level demons to try to, enact their orders, so to say. So this is low-level demons right here. This Gary Seabrook. And that's why he doesn't have no thumbs up, no thumbs down, no comment. Because this is a low-level demon. And the apostle done been read that from the first 3 or 4 words. When he said if the word microchipping appears, you don't even got to read no further. But for the truth's sake, I'm going to bring out a couple precepts and I'm going to call it a day. All right, so let me read this second paragraph again. He said, it's hard to understand. And matter of fact, let me get that scripture because he said it's hard to understand, right? And you brothers should know where I'm going. He said it's hard to understand. And this is the thing. You motherfuckers out there, man. And hey, I gotta go outside PC. It's hard for you motherfuckers out there, man. And brothers that know me, they know that me saying motherfucker is PC for me. If the elder Ariella heard me talk on a daily basis, he'd be very upset. But man, let me read this, Daniel, because this is why you people just don't understand. You want to talk about I don't understand. This is why the Lord has you say those things. Daniel's chapter 12, verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried. I wonder who that's talking about. Who's going to be purified? Who's going to be made white and tried? Second Ezra comes to mind. It says, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked, let's read that again. But the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. So the scripture said, and you see, the scripture said in Daniel chapter 12, verse 10, it says, and none of the wicked shall understand. None of the wicked shall understand, right? Let's see what this jackass Gary Seabrook wrote. It's hard to understand. Well, hey, We can close the video out right there. We don't have to go no further. Let the unjust be unjust still. Right? And see, he said it's hard to understand. I wonder why it's hard for you to understand. And then he goes to continue to commit blasphemy. He says it's hard to understand why the alleged all-powerful Care Bear in the air doesn't approach his publisher and request a massively long overdue, updated second edition of his children's classic Bibble Babble. Boy, whoever wrote this, boy, they got some judgment coming to them, boy. That's all I can say. It's good God. Boy, oh boy, hey, through the Spirit, I already perceived this, but I'm going to call this guy right here, Gary Seabrook. I'm going to call this guy for Apostle Tahar, man. That's going to be Apostle Gabar, or Salak, Apostle Tahar right there. If he that had ears to hear, let him hear. It says, he goes on to say right here, it says, updated second edition of his children's classic, Bibble Babble, the complete works of a vengeful, psychotic egomaniac with a God complex. So that we 21st century folk don't have to make total arses. This is how I can perceive that this person is from like Britain or something. Unless he's just being, he's just, just using a word. Because, he said arses. And the only time that I've heard that word being used is from people from Britain. But he says, don't have, so that we 21st century folk don't have to make total arses of ourselves by wildly speculating about the meaning of the original version of his fusty, overly verbose drivel fest. And this is where he destroys himself even further. This is where he completely commits blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. God didn't, and I'm going to read it verbatim. God didn't and doesn't and never will give a freck. I'll read it verbatim like I said, and give a feck about Brexit because he's trying to be politically correct about Brexit or Ireland or the human race or the tiny speck of gravel that we wander upon. Because, and here it goes, and here's the tricky bit, God doesn't exist. Or should I say, none of the gods exist. Not yours or any of the others that you don't believe in. None of them. ... This is Psalms chapter 14, verse 1. The fool hath said in his heart, there is no power, there is no God. They are corrupt. They have none abominable works. They have done abominable works. There is none that doeth good. The fool has said in his heart, man. A fool right here. Gary Seabrook, whoever this guy might be, whatever his real name might be. Unless he's stupid enough to put his real name as his YouTube thing. But God didn't and doesn't and never will give a feck about Brexit or Ireland or the human race or the tiny speck of gravel that we wander upon, because and here's the tricky bit, God doesn't exist. Psalms 14:1. The fool has said in his heart, there is no God. Plain and simple, man. This guy's a fool. Plain and simple. This guy's a fool. No need to further expound upon this. This guy's a damn fool. But let's get one more precept. Because we already established that this guy is simply a fool. This Gary Seabrook. Romans 3 and 3. For what if some did not believe? So what if some think that the Most High don't exist? So what if some don't believe that Yahweh doesn't exist? So what? So what if some say God didn't and doesn't and never will give a fuck about Brexit or Ireland or the human race or the tiny speck of gravity that we wander upon because, and here's the tricky bit, God doesn't exist. So what if some people say that? And let's keep reading. Or should I say none of the gods exist? Not yet yours or any of the others that you don't believe in, none of them. And you see, it is people like this, and I speak from experience, it's people that speak like this that'll end up saying, when you become a theologian, then you can talk about the Bible. It is the exact same people that say stupid shit like this, because I've heard this personally. And brothers in my camp know about this. I've heard personal shit like this being said to me. And guess what? At the end of the day, you know what they ended up saying? Exactly what I just told you. All right? Exact same thing I just told you. That the Most High don't exist. And when you go to these colleges and you get your theology degree, then you can say something about the scriptures. When you have that piece of paper that tells you that, oh, look, you learned the scriptures and all this and that, then you can go out and tell me what to think about the scriptures. I've heard that personally. You know, brothers in this camp know about that. And here it is. You got the same thing happening again. A non-believer. So let's read this again. And I say that in a you know, I mean, what kind of way could you say that, you know? A non-believer. that word, that phrase gets thrown around so loosely. It's just kind of like, man, if you say that, you feel kind of awkward at the same time when you say it. But I mean, it is what it is. A non-believer. Romans chapter 3, verse 3. For what if some did not believe? That's a non-believer. So what if you don't believe? I don't give a damn. The scriptures told me not to give a damn. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? So just because they don't believe, does that make the scriptures not to be true? That's like a mathematics problem. You know, and brothers that go to school, and I'm not just talking about 2 plus 2, because that's simple fucking math. But when you go to when you went to Esau school and you had a problem up on math, you know, and you know, again, brothers who know me from camp, that was something that I was into when I was into the world. You know, I had scholarships and everything to go to school for math. And you would have a mathematics problems, but guess what? Everybody in the class didn't have the same answer. Now you would have majority of the class would have the same answer. Let's just say that. Majority of the class would have the right answer. But what? You had some that wholeheartedly believed. They did their own calculations. They thought they remembered the formula of how to solve the problem, and they put this number here and they did this number there, and they came up with that number, and then when this letter became that letter, it did this and that, and they came up with this answer. But at the end of the day, it wasn't right. Now they're thinking, damn, what the fuck? I did this right. That can't be the answer. This got to be the answer. What I put down got to be the answer. So does their unbelief that the right answer is the right answer, does that make them right? No, it does not. So let's please, you simpletons out there, let's put this in simpleton terms. If your car is out of gas, just because you think the car is going to make it any further does not mean that damn car is going to move. Okay? So just because you do not believe in the Most High does not mean that the Most High does not exist. You fucking simpletons. That's as simple as it can get, man. That's as simple as it can get. I'm gonna close out on this again. Psalms 14:1. The fool has said in his heart, there is no power. Kala Yabashim Al Shai. Yahweh Bashim Al Shai. Bashim Rachakodash Barakathum. Shalom to the Akim, who diligently pushing out his truth and sincerity. Shalom to the Akwathim, who are learning in quietness and meekness. Shalom.